Hey guys, so I was asked to do a video on like planning summer trips, ideas, how like to budget and save money, and find some tricks and some hacks to save money on booking vacations and all that stuff. So before I get into that, I want to just tell you about a little bit my trips that I've done in the past, especially when I was like in college still, because there was one summer that I actually we went somewhere every weekend of the summer. Like everyone would like go to class or go to work during the week, and then as soon as Friday hits, like we would pack the car and just be going somewhere. So yeah, so first thing is get a group of friends and maybe make a list of all the places that you guys want to travel to keep it budget friendly. Make sure that you stay not too far. Going out of the country, then you get into a little bit more expenses, but just keep it within the United States. And Mexico is still cheap too. Puerto Rico is cheap. Dominican Republic's cheap. So in those areas, keep it in that. So the first step I would suggest is maybe like making a list of like all the places that you want to go. So for me, I had a little list of like example places that aren't too expensive to go to, have a lot of flight options and a lot of like hotel options, and there's always fun. So California, Texas, New York, Florida, DC, Atlanta, Mexico, as I said before, Dominican Republic, and like Puerto Rico. An app called Hit List. Okay, so the thing with Hit List is that it gives you like a list of like places where you can go based on like where your area is, like your airport, and how much it will be, and like the trends on like prices that go up and down. So if you're really open to like, I'm ready to go anywhere, they can make you a list of like places where you can go. So next I have for flights. So I had let's see, a little folder of all my favorite travel apps. So my first app for like flights is gonna be Skip Lagged. So Skip Lagged, if you haven't heard about it, it's an app that helps you find hidden cities in a flight path. So say you're going from like California, say you live in California, you want to go to Texas, so you can book they can find a flight that's going from like California to like Florida that stops in Texas, and you just get off. I have some budget airlines that I wrote down. Frontier Airline, they have very limited airports they go to and limited cities, but it's always good to check also. Like some of the like search engines for flights, sometimes they don't show Frontier, but most of the ones that I do know, they do show Frontier Airlines. Let's see, last year when we surprised mommy to go to Vegas, Inky and I booked flight from Columbus to LAX. Columbus to Vegas, and it was like $60 round trip per person. So that was amazing. So it's like buying three flights for 3 people, $60 round trip. Like it was so perfect. When I went to Hawaii last year with Chris, we booked, instead of booking a flight from Columbus all the way to Hawaii, I broke it up. So I did Columbus to LAX, because I knew that from anywhere from like to that side of the US with Frontier is really cheap. So I checked it and I found a good one. So I did Columbus to Cincinnati to LAX, and it was like $40 or something, like $48. And then we just booked a separate flight from LAX to Hawaii. So that was a very, oh my gosh, a very cheap trip we did. So flights from Columbus to straight to, if you book like a Columbus to Hawaii, it was like $800, $900, like it was getting up there in the hundreds. Like it was between $900 and $1,000 per person. So I scoured, like I said, I scoured all the flights, exhausted all my skills and all my resources, and I was able to find a flight from, as I said, from Cincinnati to LAX. It was like $40 per person round trip, and then I booked a separate flight from LAX to Hawaii. Flights from Hawaii, from California are so cheap. They're like $200. So $200 plus the $48. That's how much we did per person to go to Hawaii instead of $900, $1,000. Like, it was ridiculous. Sometimes you have to try different mixes and patterns and combinations to find a way to make everything cheaper. So going back, I was off grid. Going back to what I was saying. So Frontier, Spirit, I hate Spirit Airlines. Like, I hate Spirit Airlines. I hope I never have to fly Spirit Airlines ever again. I hate Spirit Airlines. They take your money. They're so like, oh, I just hate Spirit Airlines. Like, oh, anytime I've flown them, bad experiences. People have said the same thing. But the one thing is that they do have really, really cheap flights. So the only time I would suggest to take Spirit is if you're doing a quick flight, a non-stop flight to somewhere. You didn't bring much baggage to pack, so you can do carry-on or check it in. And it's just like easy breezy trip. Some of those budget airlines, like Allegiant, also is a good budget one. So Allegiant, Spirit, and Frontier, those are budget airlines. So if you're just like easy breezy trip, like you have this like a duffel bag of your stuff, those are really good to book because you don't have to pay for all the hidden fees they have, especially Spirit Airline. Alright, so besides flights, this is when I was in college, we didn't fly that much. We actually road tripped a lot and bussed. So the next option is road tripping, so just taking your car and going. So you could get your group of friends, whoever has, you know, a car that will hold everybody, or take 2 cars. That'll be fun, and just split the gas cost. There's a bunch of websites that you can calculate how much gas that will take you from point A to point B based on like how much the gas is in your area, what car you drive, the year it is, and stuff like that, and like how many miles you're going. So you can use that to estimate like how much everyone will put in for the gas. And then another option, if you want to keep it road trip to keep the cost down, and you have a group of friends but you guys kind of want to, like, you know, what word do I use, like do the most, or kind of go all out, or like bougie it up with the trip, you can just rent like a big SUV for the weekend, like maybe like a Suburban or a Yukon or something like that, and just rent a big SUV, and then you can still split the cost of the rental with the gas and everything like that. So it's another option to do, because that's actually really fun to do. So another option. And then last option for travel, like for transportation, is bus. Many times, so there's 2 ways to do this. So many times I was in college and I still take the bus sometimes. Like if I want to do like a trip to New York and I get off work late and there's no late night flight, but I need to be in New York by the morning time, I just take the night bus, and it just takes you straight to New York non-stop, and you just get off there, you get to New York in the morning, and you're good, you know. So I'll get to that overnight traveling, but bus, yeah. So Megabus or the train, but I have more experience with like the bus. So there's Greyhound and Megabus. Greyhound is okay. The only thing about Greyhound is that everyone can rides like Greyhound, so you're gonna be experiencing a lot of people from a lot of places. I'll just say that. But Megabus, I feel like people that are like more college students and more like business people take Megabus, and I feel like the buses are much cleaner, they're more nicer and stuff like that. So I would definitely pick Megabus over Greyhound, but sometimes Megabus doesn't have the route you need, so you gotta take Greyhound. And sometimes you can split it up. Sometimes when I would go from like Ohio to DC, I would take like maybe like Greyhound from Ohio to Pittsburgh, and then Megabus from Pittsburgh to DC if you want to break it up like that. So try those out, mixed combinations, as I said before. One option, as I said, is taking the bus the whole way, like to take the bus there and then take the bus back. Another option is take the bus there and fly back, or fly there and take the bus back. Depends on your schedule. So I'll give you an example of what I would do if I was gonna mix it up like that. So say I get off work and it's like, say I get off work and it's Thursday night, I get off work at like 9 o'clock. no flights, no late night flights to get from here to New York, but I want to be in New York early in the morning and not miss the whole day, like to fly to New York. So what I would do is when I get off work at like 9 o'clock, take the bus. There's a night bus that always goes to New York. Take the bus from where you are, like wherever you at, to New York, Ohio to New York, whatever. Then you get to New York early in the morning, and then you slept the whole time you were on there. You didn't waste time of like, you know, waiting another day to like fly. And then it's so much cheaper. Like the night bus to New York, what could be like $30 or whatever, depending on where you're coming from. So you take the bus there, and then when you're on your way back from your trip, just fly back, or you can take the bus back, but you can fly back. So it reduces the cost of maybe flying round trip, but you save time not being on the bus to fly back. And then just make sure you have arrangements of like someone to pick you up and drop you off, so you don't have a place to come back to, like a way to get back home from like the airport because you came from the bus stop, you know, stuff like that. So just figure out logistics. But the bus is another option, and there's a train. Sometimes the train is not much cheaper, but I heard that like a late night train, like if like I talked about the night bus, if you take a late night train to where you're going, it's actually really cheap. So look into that, look into all your options. All right, so another budget trick for summer trips is your luggage and packing. So when I went to Hawaii last year with Chris, I actually packed for 10 days of our Hawaii trip in a carry-on, with all shoes, new outfit, 2 outfits per day, mind you, 2 outfits per day, hair accessories, makeup, everything. Like I packed it all in my carry-on suitcase. So what I used was these travel vacuum sealed bags. So you put your, and I have a video on how I did that, so I'll link it down below or here. So I fold all my clothes, put it in the vacuum bags, and then you roll it, and it rolls out all the air. And then once you unravel it, like unroll the bag, it's flat, and you just put it in your suitcase. So put it in there, and then you put your shoes and stuff. So those vacuum bags save space. And I found on Amazon some vacuum bags, the same exact ones that I used in some other ones. So I'll link them down below. But that's just a really, really good way. Even if you're not even going for 10 days, even just for the weekend, you can still use the vacuum bags to help save space. You don't have to check in your bag. Checking in bags can add 50 bucks to your whole travel expense. So if you just pack in your carry-on bag, you're good to go. And then one thing is that Southwest Airlines, they don't charge for baggage. So sometimes check there for your travel like destinations where you want to go, because when you check like Google and like Kayak and Orbitz, they don't show Southwest airline flights. And sometimes people forget that Southwest Airlines is still out there. So sometimes you got to check that on its own to see if there's a cheaper flight. And you might have to calculate it to see if you do need to bring a suitcase and check it in. Calculate, is it cheaper to book any airline that's not Southwest and pay 50 bucks for checking in, or just book Southwest and you don't have to pay for extra baggage. So check that out. When you book a flight, they actually give you a good discount if you book like a flight in a car or a flight car hotel, or I think with Frontier, after you book a flight, then they give you a whole list of discounted rental cars that you can do. So don't be afraid to bundle up your packages. Priceline is a really good one. So once you get to your place, I said you can rent a car, you can do Uber. I love Uber so much. Like I love Uber. So you can Uber it up, and then with Uber, I think they have a feature where you can split the ride. I think so. They have an option you can split the ride, so you can still split amongst your friends when you guys are moving around with Uber. If you don't have Uber, I can give you my code to sign up, and I think your first ride is free. Another option is Lyft. Lyft is also good. It's good to have both apps because you can check to see which one is cheaper, because sometimes Lyft is cheaper, sometimes Uber is cheaper. So go back and forth with them. And then walking around with New York City, like you do not need a car with New York City. So walking around is so easy, especially if you go to a city where walking around is just like everyone does it. Like in Ohio, no, people don't walk around like that, but like California, Florida, Texas, not Texas, New York, DC, like people walk around all the time. So maybe try to pick a city where people walk around, so you don't have to worry about renting a car and worrying too much about Uber and stuff. You get to wherever city you're going to, don't forget to check Groupon, Living Social, and Viator. You can book like sightseeing tours, spa packages, movie packages, sightseeing, like visiting like different monuments and museums. Like, so check Groupon, Living Social, and Viator for all, especially Viator. Viator has like all the passes and good rates and stuff for all things like vacation and tours and everything. Groupon, check there for like dinner packages, entertainment stuff. Like, don't forget that all those websites have really good discounted options for like just for activities to do. Then last but not least is all you college students. College students get a lot of discounts in a lot of places, like restaurants, stores, sightseeing tours, entrances into like, you know, different things, to like museums and stuff like that. So don't forget to bring your college ID. So let's plan a mock trip and see how much it will cost us. All right, so say there's 5 of us friends and we want to go to DC. DC is always a good idea. New York is always a good idea, but DC is always a good idea. So say we want to go to DC, so we can either take the bus or we can fly. What I did was Pittsburgh to DC, and then I know I can book a Greyhound from Columbus to Pittsburgh, but I won't go through that because the website for Greyhound is so complicated, like on my phone. So I'm gonna do a one-way, so going with bus to DC and then flying back. So say I was able to get a bus from Ohio to Pittsburgh. So I'll just do that. And I'll do search. And I want to leave Thursday morning. So that's $35. Let me do the next day. Next day is the same time. So I'll just do, let me just do Friday. Friday, and that's $35. So $35 so far. So let me do a flight from, so when I'm coming back. And I'm going to come back to Columbus. Let me do Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. has 3 airports. So cities that have a bunch of airports to fly into is a good idea. D.C., New York, Florida, you have Fort Lauderdale, you have Miami. Fort Lauderdale is always cheaper. So let's see. So D.C. to Columbus. And it's going to be one way, and I'm coming back on Sunday. All right, so the cheapest, so I don't want to leave too late, so, or too early or too late. So let's do this one. 12:50 p.m. non-stop from IAD to Columbus. That's $142. So $35 was $142. We're still under $200. So that's getting there and coming back. Boom. That's how much we spent. Go to a hotel. So say we want to stay at a hotel. Say we don't have friends there we can stay at their place or their whatever. So we're gonna do a hotel, and I'm gonna do a hotel for Washington, D.C. We're gonna check in on Friday because we get there in the Friday during the day, and we're gonna check out on Sunday. Done. And we're gonna do 1 room, 2 adults, but you have 5 friends, y'all can share a room and split it. So I'm gonna do the number up. So I say there's 4 of you guys all together. So we have a 4-star hotel for $88 a night. 4-star in Georgetown for $134. Georgetown is a very good place to stay because you can walk around in Georgetown. By the White House. These are more towards the airport. Embassy Row, you can walk around there too. So I think I'm gonna pick, Embassy Row is a good one though. Georgetown is good too. So I'm gonna go with this Georgetown one that I saw that was 4-star. Oh, it just dropped. Okay, so $131 a night. So that's gonna be 2 nights. So the total is gonna be $336.69. Now $336.69, and then we have 4 friends with us. 337 divided by 4. Everyone puts in $84 for the weekend. So that's 84 plus your bus and your flight back. And that's how you get there. That's it. You guys don't need to rent a car because DC you can walk around places. Just take Uber or take the subway in DC. If you have the Google Maps app, it actually can, if you put in like, just like, oh, I'm trying to get from here to there, click on the subway option and it tells you what bus line to take and what time it comes, where to get off. Same thing with New York City, like the whole subway system is on the Google Maps. So I use that when I go to New York. When I go to DC, is I use the Google Maps. I can take whichever bus line it tells me to. I can act like I'm like a city person, but I'm not, but it helps me. So when you get to DC, you don't have to rent a car or anything. You can do Uber anytime, or you take the subway and you're good to go. And that's how much you spent for your trip, and you have a fun, beautiful weekend in DC with your friends, hitting it up, having fun, meeting people. So that's just like a mock thing that I did for a trip. So I hope you guys liked that video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.